Well, welcome everyone. This is exciting. We are actually moving right now on day 26. My name is Christian Gingras. I'm a Crown Diamond with Max International. And as you know, a whole bunch of us, Crown Diamond and Turnbull, and Tammy Sellers, myself, Dr. James from Nigeria, and Webmaster from Ghana. We're taking turns in sharing. And unfortunately today, I'm actually taking Anne's spot. So I do apologize for those who may be disappointed. I was expecting Anne. Anne is feeling a little bit under the weather, and she asked me to take her spot, and I gladly accepted to do that for her. So I'm gonna go ahead and share with you this particular segment, which again is day 26. Now this comes to an end of month celebration, and really the purpose of this session is to recognize and celebrate what your achievements. And I want to expand on that a little bit, but just before we go there, it's really interesting. Actually, Frazer was sharing a few details, which I felt was actually worth transcending this back to you. One thing that he talked about, and I totally, in fact, last night I did a training on this, talking about the attitude training. And one of the things that he shared in reference to a billionaire advice that was telling him, and it really hit home, says the key to being successful in life is to do the things you say you're going to do. In fact, I just spent time yesterday talking about make sure that you commit to the things you tell people you're going to do. This is critical. And I really suggest for you to follow the same thing. So if you committed to actually take part of these sessions, I really recommend you follow through. Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay the course. There's so much valuable information here that will really help you and even transform your business life, especially today and the way things are going when the way we're promoting our environment or the way we're sharing our social media and build our business utilizing social media. Now, if you share a win, and I'll come back to that, but if you share a win on social media, it's really important that you share the struggle first. Nobody likes someone that's always flashing. Look at me, look at me, look how great I am, look how much money I'm making, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, people tend to resent that. So it's important that you share some of the struggles, but then you add your win. And we'll talk about this. And by the way, those of you that are sharing comments, as you know, right now, Facebook has this new rule that you need to accept, right? And so I can actually see, because right now what I see is Facebook user, Max Moaning, Facebook user, Max Moaning. I would love to see who that is. I could probably go through the Facebook live here and find you, but here's what would be really helpful. If you click on actually on the comment of that post, it's actually there. If you go to ecamm.com / let's make sure I'm sharing this well here, / comment. Okay, I'm not seeing right now. / live, I think it will actually be there, and it will actually be able to help you follow through with this. Okay, so for some reason right now I can't see it. And of course, oh yeah, I do have it here. Here we go. Yeah, so it's ecamm.com / connect. If you go to ecamm.com / connect, that way, every one of you that actually are posting a comment and posting a message, I will see you right here on Ecamm Live. So just thought of sharing that with you as a FYI. Now, in following through here with some of the notes that Frazer talked about is we just finished about if you share a win in social media, it's important that you actually merge that with a struggle and then a win. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And the one thing that Webmaster did yesterday was actually an amazing job in talking about storytelling. And this is so important. And the key that you want to become a great storyteller, and I understand that if you're like me, I mean, I don't know if I'm a great storyteller, but you know what's going on is you want to find your space, something that you feel comfortable talking about, and just expand and just keep posting, keep sharing, and trust me, you will evolve. You will get better in time. But the thing is, you've got to start somewhere. Don't worry so much about what people think. Don't worry about this. This is irrelevant. What matters is you take the activities and you actually move forward and doing the dares and doing the assignments that we give you for sure you can actually go and practice. So the fact is, some examples of think about some stories is think about the last 7 days. You know, the last 7 days on what has happened, maybe in your life, maybe in your social media world, maybe in your Max business, maybe into whatever endeavor you might have done. Just start thinking about what's been going on the past 7 days. And for example, something you can do is, in the last 7 days, I sponsored 3 people and 1 customer, right? Or you could say something, in the last 7 days, I double my last month income. That's possible. These things happen. I just want to make sure that you be careful with income disclaimers. But again, these are things that, people that, what? Really? You get people's attention. Another one is, and, in the last 7 days, I've increased my following by like 1,000 people. You might have done something that just went viral, right? I've seen this happening, and it happens. Trust me, when it happens, it's crazy. So it's just some examples that you can use. And it doesn't mean that what I shared here is what you should find and what you should do. It's just some examples of sharing some stories. But what's really important is the struggles and the win. You see, when you share your struggle, it's important that you bridge the struggle with a sentence like, and then it all changed. For example, and I'll come back to example a little bit later, but the point in the content is you always want to have the hook, right? And the hook could be anything. I'll give you some example a little bit later. And in the story, what has happened, and then of course the offer, the call to action. Just remember that we talked about that. I forgot which day it was. You can feel free to go back into the previous days, and you can actually always go to feature and then scroll and see the titles and some of the description to give you an idea of what these calls are all about. But the key to be successful at anything in life, folks, is to, again, say the things that you're going to do and deliver on it and staying the course. If you say you're going to do something, then do it. Don't think that you're going to say something and nobody's going to remember. Trust me, people do remember. And that is how you build credibility, especially over time. If you keep coming back and sharing and you're always delivering on the things that you say you're going to do, I'm telling you, people notice. I know that sometimes people think nobody sees. Now, here's the dare. Now, as I stated earlier, is that we are at the end of month celebration. And one of the things that's important, number one, is you need to recognize your celebration, regardless of what that is. Write down all the things that you can celebrate in the past 4 weeks. Some of you have done some things that you've never done before, and you may not even give yourself the time to even acknowledge what you have done. That could have been actually amazing. And doing more of that could actually completely change your life. So write down all the things that you can celebrate in the past 4 weeks since you started with this 90-day sprint that we're doing with the social media run. Okay. Now, number 2 is reflect on the past 4 weeks of what you have done, as I stated earlier. And what could you have done better? Think about what are the things that you could have done better. Think about this, because this is how we evolve. By recognizing what you have done, and by recognizing what you have done, then you can start recognizing some things you can improve upon. And as you improve upon some of those things, the next time that you're actually doing a next live or a next post or a next reel, it's going to be in the back of your mind, and you'll be able to apply some of those things. And this is how we evolve. This is how we get better. Okay. If you feel you could have done something better, right? These are important. So that's the point that Frazer was talking about, right? And the thing is that's important is let go of any regrets. I know that some of you may feel, I just can't keep up. I just can't keep up with all of these dares and all the assignments. I just can't do them. That's okay. Just pick a few of them and apply yourself in doing them. And the question is, give yourself a chance to let go. Let go of the regrets of not achieving or not attempting, or maybe you're not pleased with some of the response you got. You felt you could have done more. You could have received more attention and people didn't respond. Nobody said anything. That's okay. Let go. Let go of all these things. So number 1, celebrate. Number 2 is to reflect. Number 3 is to reset, right? So what are things you could have done better? And how can you improve upon them? And number 4 is let go. Let go of any of the regrets. And then when you start the next week, then you start fresh. And I'm telling you, this is how we evolve. Success, it's never a straight line up. You understand that? It's a mess. It's all over the map. It's up and it's down. It's like a scribble of spaghetti. But eventually, when you pass that, you start climbing the ladder, you start evolving, you start increasing, you start doing better, and your results will show, and the attendance, the people coming on board, and eventually your check increasing. Right. So these are some of the meters. And one of the part of the dare in understanding to celebrate, reflect, reset, and let go is there is 4 levels. You know, Frazer likes to talk about level 1, level 2, level 3. And just level 1 is write down a list of 5 things to celebrate and go through the process. Level 2 is 15. Level 3 is 25. It really depends. It's entirely up to you. But the fact is, on each of the things that you are going to describe, that it is a 5, that it is the 15 or the 25, number 1 is what can you reflect on? Reflect on some of the things that you've done and start recognizing what can you improve upon, right? What were you setting on? In other words, what did you focus on? What are the things that you can actually update or change, right, or improve upon? And number 3 is what are you letting go out of those 5 things, for example, out of this 15 things, out of those 25 things? What are some of the things that you're just letting go of? And it's really that simple. And what he suggested is to write a post about one of those struggles and maybe with a win. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just share struggles, right? You want to have, and I'll give you some example in a minute. I wrote some example here for myself, and I want to share that with you. And because in social media, again, it's not the same thing as facing people in a hotel meeting and at an event. It's a different environment. The mindset is different, right? Because the body language is not the same. The communication is not the same. And often what's going to happen is people may turn around and start thinking of things based on what's happening in a limitation of their personal environment. And they don't have that influence as if you were in front of them that could actually influence some of the negative thoughts that they may have. So one thing that's important here, when you share your posts, and here's some examples here. Say, here's one I want to share with you. When I first started my business, I was unable to recruit anyone serious in my business. And then it all changed when I started following the Crown Diamond Global Impact series that I've been following. I made a decision to invest in myself. PM me. I'll show you how I did it. It's really that simple. So this is the dare. Is just to recap very quickly, is recognize the celebration, celebrate what you have done in the past 4 weeks, reflect on the things that you've done in the past 4 weeks, right? And from there, start recognizing what could you have done better? What can you have done better? And number 4 is let go of any regrets. Next week, next month, I'm starting fresh. And there's 3 levels. Level 1, find 5 of those things. Level 2, 15. Level 3, 25. And all levels, I'm just reflecting here, all the levels is that you can reflect on, right? What are some of the things that you can improve upon? And number 3 is what are the things that you're willing to let go? Okay, write a post on that. And there was also some Q&As that I thought would be important to share with you here. I'll spend a few minutes on that. Is one of the question is my Instagram hashtag are attracting odd people. That was the question. And one of the things that Frazer shared is that hashtags are not as relevant anymore on Facebook and Instagram. They're still in TikTok, but not as much on Facebook and Instagram. So it's very interesting how this is evolving, right? The more post that goes out to the the more posts that goes out, the smarter the algorithm gets. Eventually, they don't mean anything. So the fact here is what's really important is spend a lot of time commenting on your Dream 50. We talked about that. I think I did that particular segment is building your Dream 50. find those 50 people, start with 5, and the ones that contains the properties that you actually respect and appreciate on. Okay, so that's one of the things that he suggested really for you to focus on. Now, another a question I was asked is in reference to how to use my podcast to create other content. It's really interesting because my wife and I do podcasts. Tammy and I are sharing a lot of our segments on podcast, and in fact, this podcast has increased our our attendance, people paying attention to what we do and what we share. It's really, really interesting. One thing that he suggests here is that you can use a tool called repurpose.io. R it's in fact it's I believe it's in the comment section here. So repurpose.io. So I won't bother spelling it. And then the thing is you can create reels, TikTok, from the long form comments, and I think you can post them into different social media groups. Now I'm not familiar with that particular tool. I use other kind of tools to do these things. Right? Tips for podcast as camera. One of the things that we do, and I can share with you what we do, is we don't just do audio podcasts, but we actually do video podcasts, and we do both. Some of the video podcasts will extract just the audio, and that will end up into Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon, and so forth. But we also have a YouTube channel where it also have the video content. Some people like the video, so we have both. So we do one session, and with the one session, we extract the audio. It goes into the audio file segments, and the other one goes into our YouTube channel. And we're having a lot of fun with that. And one of the things that he talks about is, let's see here, new podcasts are down 80%. You can consider doing them if you are ready. I'm not sure exactly what the comment is over there. You can also consider team focused podcasts. And I mean, this is what it is. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with that. But the point here is I do recommend if for you to start a podcast, and it could be sessions of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. And the fact is, again, people tend to be creature of habits. And the more they hear about you, the more they hear about your content, the more people will gravitate towards what you have to share. Another question here, I have found a young family. How how did a dad created memories with you, and how to feel about that now? Well, the answer really, Frazer shared a story about his upbringing, and I can tell you one of the things that my wife I've done even in the past, in reflection of what Frazer was saying to that answer, is get your family involved. Right? Get your family involved. When I mean get your family involved, not just ask them to be part of what you're doing, but get them involved in the dreaming aspect of things, right? For example, would you like to go to the Disney cruise? And I'd like to take the entire family to the Disney cruise, but for that to happen, mommy and daddy has to spend all this time doing this. Would you like that? Or I can just let that go. We can spend all the time together, but we'll never be able to go to Disney cruise. Watch their reaction. I'm giving you an example. There got to be tens of thousands of different examples that you can use for yourself, but this is something that absolutely works. Get the people involved. There's a saying that I've always said, people support what they create. People support what they create, or people support what they're part of, right? If people are contributing to something that you're doing, then it becomes part of them. And that's the message to that one over here. Okay? So I'll end on this note, folks. I really recommend you take the time to recognize and celebrate some of the things that you've accomplished, some of the things that you've done, and reevaluate what you have done, and take the time to reflect on some of those things, and learn to also just let go of what you're not happy about, and not looking at that, well, it's just not working for me. Let go of these things and start fresh next week. Okay. So folks, thank you so much for participating today. Always appreciate you all the time, and really appreciate everybody that are taking part of these sessions. Tomorrow we're going to be having a session with, I believe it will be Dr. James, and it'll be an absolute great event. In fact, I took some notes of that yesterday, and it was a great session. So I look forward for you to be there. Have yourself a wonderful day, and bye for now.